scared, let them on in the road. It's time again for the Hillbilly Show. The back roads out through the courthouse square. We talk real life and the folks that care. No fancy script, no polished flow, just plain old truth on the Hillbilly Show.
Give ACS Roofing a call and tell them the Hillbilly sent you. Phone number is 724-322-2396. One more time, ACS Roofing. Give them a call, 724-322-2396. Tell them the Hillbilly sent you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. And we're back again with another Coffee with the Hillbilly. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate all the views I'm getting. I appreciate everybody and everything they're doing. So let's get started. Pull up a chair. Pour yourself another cup of coffee. You need to have one of those conversations that isn't always comfortable, but it is necessary. You know, growing up in Fayette County, I learned something from the old timers. They tell you, son, if you're in a hole, the first thing you do is quit digging. Simple advice. Apparently, county government got that lesson. This week, the Fayette County Commissioners are preparing to approve another $10,364,000 in general obligation loans and bonds. I should say bonds because I will get correct. And now they'll tell you this is refinancing. They'll tell you this is good fiscal management. They'll tell you not to worry. But here's what I know. When politicians tell you not to worry about it, it's usually because they don't plan on being the ones paying it back. You are. The ordinance itself says the county is pledged its full faith, credit, and taxing power. Remember that word, taxing power, because that's going to come into play here in another year or so. That's government language for one simple sentence. The money isn't there, the taxpayer pays off. I know. And now I want to ask you something. If your family was struggling to make ends meet, would you go finance another truck? Would you buy a new bass boat? Would you keep spending money like tomorrow never comes? Of course you would. You'd sit around the kitchen table, sharpen your pencil. You cut the things you don't need. You make tough choices. That's what responsible people do. So why doesn't county government? Instead of tightening their belts, keep reaching deeper into yours. Maybe you've Scott Dunn, Vicites, and Dutch Kaufman spent less time approving expensive contracts, pet projects, and unnecessary spending. They wouldn't have to keep borrowing millions back by the taxpayers. Remember that again. Backed by the taxpayers. This county doesn't have a borrowing problem. It's a spending problem. You cannot spend your way into prosperity. You cannot borrow your way into financial stability. And you certainly cannot keep asking working families to pay for planning. The Bible tells us in Luke 14:28, for which of you, intending to build a tower, set it not down first and count the cost. It's not just scripture. It's not just good scripture. That's good government. Count the cost before you borrow. Count the cost before you spend. Count the cost before you hand the bill to the taxpayers. Because every dollar government spends came from someone who got up before daylight, punched the time clock, worked overtime, ran a small business, milked cows, drove a truck, or put on a uniform to serve this country. That doesn't create wealth. The people do. I've heard people say, well, John, you're just trying to scare people. No, I'm trying to remind people. I warned Fayette County before the last tax increase. I read the budgets. I followed the spec. I looked at the numbers. And sure enough, the tax increase came. So here's what I believe. Looking at the county's financial pattern, the continued borrowing, the obligations they're taking on, I believe taxpayers should prepare for the possibility of another significant property tax increase after the 2027 election. Why after the election? Because it's a whole lot easier to tell people we held the line on taxes during a campaign than it is to tell them the bill is coming after the votes are counted. One more time, because it's a whole lot easier to tell people we held the line on taxes during a campaign than it is to tell them the bill is coming after the votes are counted. I hope I'm wrong. I truly do, because nobody wins when taxes go up. Not the young couple trying to find their first home, not the senior living on Social Security, not the farmer, not the small business owner, not the single mom working 2 jobs. Nobody. But hope isn't a budget. Common sense is. And before the county borrows another $10 million, taxpayers deserve answers. I provide. We're not borrowing it, we're refinancing. What was cut before borrowing? What unnecessary spending was eliminated? How much interest will taxpayers ultimately pay? How does the borrowing leave Fayette County stronger? How does this borrowing leave Fayette County stronger instead of simply postponing today's problem until tomorrow? Those are fair questions. Now, before I finish, let's remember something. Let's take a second to remember what happened the last time people of Fayette County begged these commissioners not to raise taxes. Seniors stood before them. Working families stood before them. Taxpayers pleaded with them. They weren't asking for favors. They were asking to keep more of their money. The commissioners listened, and they voted to raise taxes anyways. It wasn't 20 years ago. It happened right here in Fayette County. And we're being asked to trust the same financial plan that has led us another $10,364,000 bond issue. History isn't a funny way. History has a funny way of repeating itself. Government refuses to learn from its mistakes. So before you tell yourself they would never do it again, remember how they responded the last time. Remember how they responded the last time when the taxpayers asked for relief. Now here's the video.
Retired coal miner for 37 years in a coal mine, and this tax increase, my pension is $2,200 a month plus my Social Security, and now they're going to raise the taxes again, and they're pushing people out of Fayette County.
I'm Charity Grimm-Krupa, State Representative for the 51st District. I stand before you today as a voice for our community, compelled to speak against the proposed tax hike. As elected officials, we must always remember that the government should serve the people, not burden the people. This is the mindset that we as leaders must adopt if we're to honor the trust that's placed in us. Our county is one of the poorest in the state, yet the people here are some of truly the best and the most hardworking. They understand what it means to make tough choices, stretch every dollar, and prioritize what truly matters. Families here grapple with the rising costs of food, utilities, gasoline, and basic necessities. To add to their burden, their financial burden at this time, it's not just unjust, it's out of touch with reality. What makes this proposal even harder to justify is the lavish spending over the last few years at the county level. Instead of focusing on critical needs like clean drinking water, reliable sewage systems, or basic infrastructure, your top priorities seem to have been acquiring real estate that no private investor would touch, constructing a convenient but totally unnecessary tunnel, and building a recreational bike trail. While such projects may have their place, they do not reflect the immediate pressing needs of our residents, nor do they reflect a modest budget. Fiscal responsibility is not about saying no to progress. It's about prioritizing wisely. It's about understanding that, like the families we serve, we must live within our means. When resources are scarce, elected officials should focus on what matters most. Fix what's broken, provide what's needed, and delay what can wait. Let me be clear. No one disputes the value of recreation and long-term planning. But in a county as poor as ours, the sad reality is that at this particular moment, we cannot afford the bells and whistles that wealthier counties enjoy. Every dollar of taxpayer money represents someone's hard work, someone's sacrifice, In a community-first model of government, priorities are set by the people, not by abstract plans, pet projects, or aspirations that are totally disconnected from the struggles of the average person. We must remember that government doesn't create wealth. It exists to protect and wisely manage the resources entrusted to it. We must spend for what we need, not what we want in this moment. The fact that a nation, or in this instance a county, cannot tax its way into prosperity is not a new idea. It is not a novel idea. The residents of this county work hard and sacrifice every day to make ends meet. They deserve a government that respects their sacrifices and uses their resources wisely. I urge you to reject this tax increase in its entirety. And I could go on, but I realize it's 3 minutes and that's going to buzz shortly. By the way, where's the solar ordinances that were promised to us months ago?
Even Christmas a week away. I thought it'd be appropriate to bring the Grinch in here. Because I agree with Charity Grimm 100%. I wish we could duplicate her. That's a common sense legislator who, can you be my state representative or state senator? I mean, that's common sense politician. That's what we elect you to do, exactly what you said. Do everything possible to be fiduciary responsible and to protect the taxpayers who elected you. And remember, we are your bosses. Don't be a Grinch this Christmas. And we ask that you do not vote for a tax increase.
I own multiple businesses in Fayette County, in Washington County. I'm a 9th grade dropout. I've worked very hard to be where I'm at today. I also want you to know that I've never filed bankruptcy. I've never got a grant. I've worked my whole life and worked around a budget, and I've succeeded. My net worth is now $7 million. If I could do that, Fayette County should be able to do that.
In 2020, you guys raised taxes, and here we are again. You're raising them again, now 1.7. And let's be honest about the federal money. You got a lot of federal money that came into here that didn't cost us anything. Are you kidding me? You bought liabilities with the money.
Son who's serving in the U.S. Army, has a family, is retiring, wants to come home, and I can't give him any good recommendation for here, especially hearing this.
It seems like every year we go through this. It's either the township, the school district, the county, raising taxes. Somewhere it's got to end.
I'm a retired state worker, and you want to raise the mill on the taxes. I just got one thing to say. What happened whenever the legalized gambling come in and you got the casinos and everything? Where was this money supposed to go?
I've lived here my whole life in Henry Clay Township. I have a farm up there that my grandfather passed down to me and my dad passed down. It's been in the family over 100 years. Taxes are $6,500. I've worked 55 years and I've planned to make it and give my kids back something. But you know what? You guys keep moving the goalpost.
I come here and I was totally blown away by how elegant some of the speakers are, how not elegant some of the speakers are. But nonetheless, there's no more, no less of importance with what they're saying and what they're trying to communicate to you guys. And you guys could at least have the fucking decency to look at us in our face while we're talking to you instead of playing up there on your bullshit, whatever you're doing, your phone's going off. What's that?
I'm keeping time.
Oh, yeah. We paid for you to play for your clock. I've seen the rooms you spoke about that you spent all the money on. Come work in a boiler room with me, with 3 different people from 5 different trades working in there in dangerous conditions. They were uncomfortable. They weren't in danger in any way. It was just being comfortable. That's what you wanted to change. And that's a waste of money, man. You can't say it's not.
I'm John Marietta. I'm the recorder of deeds for the people of Fayette County. I want everybody to understand one thing here. They're borrowing $15 million, or they already have borrowed $15 million. So I figure, me being the hillbilly I am, I figure that this tax increase, 1.9, is to pay back some of that debt service. Do I have that right? Okay. So here's what I propose. We can fix this without raising taxes. We can fix this by reducing taxes 2 mills. I'll tell you how we do it. You can go back and we can implement a 1% sales tax for the county across the board. That way it isn't just the property owners that are paying for the taxes. It's everybody in the county every time they spend money. And we can put this off until next year and make sure that we don't have to go through this. We need to do the right thing here, gentlemen. There's people that are retired on fixed incomes, and this 1% would take care of that 1.9 mil increase. And 1.9 isn't going to be enough. You might as well just go ahead and tell them that they're going to need another 1.5 next year. And that's what is going to happen. I mean, we're hiding all these loans that we've put in place. The first year I was in office, it was $7 million you borrowed to pay off the trans loan. The last year, you borrowed $9.5 million to pay off the trans loan. Now you're borrowing $15 million, and most of that's going to go towards paying off the trans loan. Scott, you said in the paper we need to get away from this, and I agree with you, but we haven't. It's got worse. So what's next year going to be? $20 million to pay off the $15 million? This is where we're headed. It isn't about walking trails. Everybody knows my doctor is going to tell me on Friday that I need to walk. She's going to tell me I need to walk 2 miles every day. I mean, I agree with all of you. So I enjoy the river. I was raised at that river. There's a rock right across from South Connellsville we carved our name in. I spent more time in that river than probably anybody did. I love it. There's people here from Dunbar. There's people here from Markleysburg. There's people here from all over the county. A 1% tax across the board, sales tax, would fix this, and we could reduce the millage. And that's what we have to do. These people got up this morning. They bought gas. They paid taxes. They parked in the parking lot. If they paid taxes. Hey, we're taxed beyond unconstitutionally. We're taxed beyond belief. This is taxation without representation, because this 1.9 mil, you haven't said what it's going to be for.
If you guys would have had this, at 6 o'clock in the evening, we'd have had to have it in a goddamn football stadium. But it's what's convenient for you. We'd have had 10,000 people here saying you're crazy raising our taxes. You're crazy. But instead, you sit in here and you smirk when some people say things. You guys are.
Okay, folks, let's get back to it. This isn't about Republicans or Democrats. This isn't about personalities. It's about whether county government is going to live by the same rules every family in Fayette County lives by every day. Spend what you have, save what you can, borrow only what you must. And always remember whose money you're spending. Until next time, keep the coffee hot, keep your face strong, and never stop asking the people who spend your money one simple question. Have you ever cut every unnecessary dollar before asking me to pay another one? Ever cut every unnecessary dollar before asking me? God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America. I am John Marietta, and I am the Hillbilly.